Hey guys, it's Drac and welcome to the video on Everyday Alchemy. This is going to be a deck tech video on my Tiny Leaders deck. I like Tiny Leaders a lot. It's actually getting me back into Magic just a little bit. I'm not as competitive as I once was, but I am enjoying the casual Tiny Leaders format. And this is my Tiny Leader for my first deck. I'm working on another one and I'll be sure to share that with you when it's done. But I am playing with Ashling currently and trying to get the rest of the deck out. There we go. It's currently housed in a Fox and Dragon leather deck box. So I'm going to go through the creatures first. The general is Ashling the Pilgrim. I just liked that elemental theme, so I went and built around the elemental theme with some marginal value here and there. So Hell's Thunder is an elemental. It has Unearth, and it fits just inside our mana threshold, which is nice. Ball Lightning is essentially a burn spell that happens to have elemental style benefits, so sometimes it costs less, sometimes I get to sneak it into play, and it's just really, really cool. It's also tutorable, which is nice, with the Element Tutor card. Magus of the Moon is just an excellent utility red creature that sometimes just flat out wins games on its own. Dragon Master Outcast is similar in that it's an excellent creature all by itself. It doesn't really need the help, and it's really good in the format. Stigma Lasher is great. It revives itself, or it doesn't revive itself, I'm thinking of Undying. It has Wither, which is kind of weird, but most importantly, it prevents other players from gaining life. There are a lot of Loxodon Warhammers running around in the format, so this is a great thing to tutor up and make sure that Ashling will kill the people or your opponent when it's time to kill them. Bright Hearth Banneret is just sweet, has a lot of elemental synergy. Kargan Dragonlord is similar to Dragon Master Outcast. It's a cheap red creature that does really great things. Rage Forger works well with the Shaman kind of sub-theme and does just good things. So Cinder Pyromancer, also a Shaman, sometimes gets haste, is an elemental, etc., etc. This is probably my favorite card in the deck, not just because of the sweet Todd Lockwood art, but also because it has a ton of elemental synergy and lets me sneak some things into play. Dualcaster Mage is just a great red creature. It's got a lot of good interactions with your opponent's decks as well as your own. Sometimes it's just a really cool card. Now, Heartlash Cinder I like a lot. I think that it's also kind of a burn spell, but sometimes it's a burn spell that sticks around and gives you a 1/1, which can be sweet. It's almost always a 2/1 when it enters the battlefield because of its own chroma, but frequently it's more than that on account of Ashling and the rest of the elementals. Inner Flame Igniter is one card that I might cut from the deck, but it's not terrible. Flame King Harbinger lets me tutor up other elementals. Soulbright Flamekin is how the deck can go infinite by just making a ton of red mana, and then there are lots of things that do things with it. Pyromente Joven is obviously a young pyromancer, but in Spanish, and he is a great utility creature. Also, he sometimes just is a lightning rod. People will kill him because they think the deck works that way. Chandra's Phoenix is a space filler right now. I'm waiting to see if there's something that I like better than that. Vexing Devil is a burn spell, short and sweet, very good. And then Smoke Braider is just kind of a fun little red ramp card with all the elemental abilities. There are two artifacts in the deck. One of them is a ramp card in Ruby Medallion, the new art from the Commander decks, and then Swiftfoot Boots is supposed to be the other version of Swiftfoot Boots, which is, I can't remember. It's the one that has Shroud instead of Hexproof. Some consider it to be worse. I think it's strictly better because the equip cost is 0. And then I have two enchantments. Curse of Stalk Prey is just value no matter how you slice it in a deck full of tiny creatures that are constantly attacking. And then Claws of Valakut is an excellent enchantment to put on Ashling herself because it lets you continue growing her 2 at a time, and then she has First Strike plus a massive boost. Also, with all of the different ways to give things haste in this deck, Claws of Valakut can win from behind. So I have a Magma Jet, a Lightning Bolt, a Lightning Axe, and a Chaos Warp. These are my instants. They're almost all exclusively for removal, Chaos Warp being the most versatile of them, and then these two being the most efficient, whereas Lightning Axe is sometimes just necessary to kill things with 4 toughness. I didn't want to run Thunderbolt because it's not always very good. Now, there are more sorceries. I have 4 of them as well. Chain Lightning is just the second lightning bolt, but a little bit slower. Browbeat lets me draw cards most of the time, or sometimes people just take 5 at the beginning, which is pretty effective. It reduces them to a regular game's life total in a deck that's very threat heavy. Now, Arc Trail is good 2-for-1 removal, lots of small creatures in the format, obviously, and Bonfire of the Damned is insane. Bonfire of the Damned won me a lot of IQs back in the day, and so I'm happy to have a new way to play with it. Now, I have 5 utility lands, out of which Valakut is my least favorite, but sometimes Valakut does good work. Nykthos is frequently a way to just ramp to insane amounts of mana. Flamekin Village is pure value with the elemental theme and does a lot of cool things. Shinka is great when you're recasting Ashling late in a stalled game, and it's okay with a couple of the other legendary creatures. There aren't a lot in my deck, and then Forgotten Cave is just a cycling land. It's the best of the cycling lands, and I didn't think that I needed 2. And then I have kind of a hodgepodge of mountains. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mountains, and all of that should add up to a grand total of 50, and it's a lot of fun to play. I'm looking at building an Esper Tiny Leaders deck next, but I haven't decided between the lady who takes control of creatures and Seedry. I'm probably leaning towards Seedry just because I think that she's really, really cool, and I like that artifact kind of Esper theme. So that is my Ashling the Pilgrim deck. If you're interested in my altered Tiny Leader, be sure to put a comment in the comment section below, and the artist is rather near and dear to my heart, so she might take your commission if you're up for that sort of thing. As always, guys, thanks for watching.